My name is James Howard Collins, and I'm a painter. I've always been a painter. I've always drawn. I've always made things, sculptures, and just anything with my hands. Something I've done since I was a little kid. I grew up in a big family. I'm one of 9 siblings, and we're all close together in age. We're all born in the 60s. My parents were very encouraging of all of us, and I could say that one of the things that helped me a lot was my parents not only encouraging me in art, but encouraging me in different types of art. Growing up in New York, seeing street art, graffiti, being bombarded with advertising, rock album covers, all that stuff is like somewhere in the psyche. I went to Pratt for a little while. I bounced around. I wound up going to Pace University and graduating from there, and had a very, very good experience there in terms of the teachers and the artists that were there. And my plan was to go to graduate school. That's what painters did. And then the crazy idea of joining the Navy came up. I did 5 years in the Navy, most of the time on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Once I became a Navy photographer, when I came out, I worked in journalism for almost 25 years as a photojournalist, as an editor. I did like my role. I loved working in newsrooms. I loved working around journalists. I loved working on photo projects. There was a certain creative satisfaction there. It was impossible to do any artwork during that time. So it's almost painful to think that I may have entertained that I would never get back there, never get back to painting. My dad, when I was about 11 or 12, gave me a book of Willem de Kooning's charcoal drawings. De Kooning made these drawings, these particular ones, with his eyes closed. It was sort of an exercise for him. So they're very loose, and I remember getting that as a kid, and I felt like it was validation, that I didn't have to draw the way necessarily it was expected of me to draw, that I could draw loose and free and not even really be that realistic in what I was, trying to do. So it really lasted with me. And I've carried that book with me through all kinds of moves and things like that. It's in a little rough shape, but I still have it. When I returned to drawing and painting, or started doing it more, the figurative element just kind of fell away. Some of the things that interested me as a young man, young artist, bold color, and a feeling that you could say maybe comes from growing up in New York and seeing a lot of street art, graffiti, that sort of gestural abstraction that I really have embraced. It's funny because originally when I started doing this work, what I was doing is I was working a lot in a drawing book where it was just pen and ink and a lot of smaller gestural stuff. I liked some of the ideas that were coming out of that, and then I did a series of charcoal drawings that all were done very quickly because I wanted to retain a certain spontaneity and energy, all sort of monochrome. So when I began painting, I thought, I'm going to try to replicate what I was doing in these drawings on canvas. I really limited my palette. The first 3 paintings I did were all essentially monochrome. I looked at these paintings and thought, I need some more color. Colors are put together in a certain way. There's certainly an energy that comes from them. People often talk about how important it is to become not childish, but childlike in relationships, in work, and certainly I think that holds true in art. Because there's a certain free spirit that comes from that, right? Or trying to get to that place. It reminds me in a lot of ways of a lot of the jazz I listen to. Created in a way that is open to different interpretations. I try to incorporate these gestural strokes and marks in the work. So, just simple things like swinging my arms and taking a step back and just really having this sort of physical relationship with the canvas is something that really I can only do on a larger scale. I don't know where the pieces are going to end up. I wish sometimes that I did. I know artists that work everything out first and then go to canvas with their ideas. I like the idea of stepping in front of the canvas and just sort of letting it happen and getting out of the way. It's just fun, really. It's sort of like, being in a band and jamming. I have to be kind of confident enough to expand on that in a way I think other people might be interested in. And it works for me. It probably wouldn't work for some people. It's in its beginning stages. I'm trying to something a little bit different, but we'll see where it goes.